Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's time for us to begin this morning. Appreciate all of you being here this morning. We have a guest speaker, as was announced. Mr. Dorian Flynn is with us to bring us not only the class, but he's also going to speak to us at the next hour for our worship. And so we appreciate him, his ability. He is with Partners of Africa. We have been helping them for a long time now. So he's absolutely no stranger to this congregation. I think everyone knows him. Small man, you do have to look for him in a crowd. But I get a little bit of that as well. So we're grateful for the work that they do, and we are honored to be able to assist them in their work, and they do much good for the cause of Christ. And we're so grateful for his zeal and his determination to spread the borders of the kingdom further throughout this world for the name of Christ. And so I won't take up any more of Mr. Dorian's time. Let him come speak to us.
Thank you, Chance. I guess two big preachers of the brotherhood. It is an absolute joy to be here. My wife wasn't able to come, but my grandson, my oldest grandson, is here, and he's gone to one of the classes, but he is enrolled in Heritage University, and I'll say a few things about him later on. But I just want you to know how much my wife and I and the Partners for Africa team has love you all so much. You all have been with us. We begin our 18th year this month, February, and it's amazing the journey we've been on. And so I want to show you where we are and where we're going. So let me just make sure I got okay. So the first thing is I got to show you this. There is between Zimbabwe and South Africa, in the Zimbabwe side, there is a family, third generation, that have a citrus farm. Now, when I say citrus farm, I'm talking right now they harvest about 1,000 acres of oranges from those trees, and they've got another 1,000 acres coming online, as it were, this May. The problem is the ranch is in a wildlife area. So not only do the baboons that you see there love oranges, but also elephants. And so when the elephants when they come for the oranges, you don't go to a herd of elephants and say, shoo, shoo, Doesn't work that way. So on their property, which they have an immense ranch, there is a mini canyon. And if you were with me, I would take you to that canyon. And what's special about it is you can spend the night there. And above the canyon, you can sit at a restaurant, and they'll serve you food, and you can watch the animals eat oranges. They ship out about 20,000 boxes of oranges a day across the world. That's the grade A's. But what they did is they took those that were less than grade A, they put them in wagons, and they take them to this canyon, and they drop them there. And you can see them there. And the first ones to come, if you get there 3 p.m, are the baboons. Because the big boys are coming later. And those elephants come, and you are sitting there, and you're eating your food, and there's about 300 elephants just eating oranges, and it's quite a spectacle to see. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of give you a little hook and tempt you a little bit, come our way. This is part of our team. My wife and I, Sherry, are so blessed because we have our son on their picture on the right of me, which will be on the left of that picture, is our oldest son. He works with us full-time, Lee. And then 3 of our grandsons. And Tristan, who is here today, he's in the middle there between the 2 grandsons. He works with us full-time also. But those other two come and they work with us all the time, and that was a picture taken this summer. So when you think about what Mackenzie, the church here in Mackenzie has done, I want you to know that this is part of what you've accomplished in 2024. You are a partner with us, and we are thankful that up to this point, last year, we had set a goal of 1,000, and in fact, it's even more than 1162, but we don't have all the info in because there's a lot of rural churches. We've been able to plant 103 new congregations. In fact, it's 104 now because we've already planted a new one this year. And we started, in fact, when Josh came, I think we were in 3 countries then. We're now in 7, and mostly the southern part of Africa. And so I want to thank you for making this a reality, this work, which we began from scratch. I remember sitting with the elders and Josh in a room back here so many years ago, and we were talking about different things we wanted to do, and so much of that has become reality. This is the new church we planted. One of the things we do with Partners for Africa, we don't raise money for church buildings, and we don't raise money to support preachers. We help preachers to find a living for themselves, whether it's through livestock, agriculture, photography. One guy just converted a 20-foot container into a pizza restaurant. So we do help with that because that allows them longevity. So many native ministers have been supported, and then when the leadership changes, maybe somewhere in the States, a congregation, then their support, it's just tenuous. So anyway, but this new church here, so you can see they built their own building already. I'm very proud of it. And once we drill a well there, then they'll make their own bricks, and then they'll have a brick building. And so we are thankful for that. This is a very significant picture, and I'll tell you why. The man that is sitting next to the hut, who has the cane, is the chief in the area, and this is the country of Zambia. He has several thousand acres, and we were able to go in there and get to know him and get to know a lot of the villagers. We have planted one church there already. He has become a Christian. And he has given us that land that you see in front there. He has given us 100 acres for a Christian school. And we are so excited about this because our goal, and by the way, you see at the bottom there, three new churches to be planted. It was really 4 that we had planned at the end of December, but we've already done one. So 3. But I want you to know. So just think of this for a minute. Here is Tanzania. Below Tanzania, you've got Zambia. Then you've got Zimbabwe. And then you have South Africa. So keep that in your mind. So he's given us that 100 acres to build a school. In Tanzania, just above Zambia, is when I was preaching in Florence, Alabama, there was an elder and his wife that planted a school in years later. They're about 4 years ahead of our school in Tanzania. And I just visited there and got to speak and work with them. And they began Alpha Omega. Okay? This is all within our fellowship, the Churches of Christ. Okay? Then I sat down with the elders here at one of the meetings years ago, and we laid out an architect drawing of the school that we wanted to build. Now I'm going to get to that school in a little while, but there is Tanzania. There is a school in Zambia that's about to come. We have got Amazon Christian Academy, and I'll show you that later. And by the way, we've just begun our 5th building. When we put that down there about 5 or 6 years ago or so, there wasn't anything. It was just the architectural drawing. Okay, that's our 5th classroom block that is being built right now. That picture was taken 2 weeks ago. And then this is Cape Town, South Africa, and that's the East Ridge Church of Christ. And you'll notice the sign on the left says East Ridge Christian Academy. The reason I bring all that up to you is we are going to have an association, a connection and a relationship with other Christian schools, Church of Christ schools, from Tanzania all the way down to Cape Town. And those graduates are going to come to the university that we will begin 2 years from now in Zimbabwe. We are not sending our students to the States. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a wonderful country, and it's so wonderful that people don't go back. So what we want is, we want them to be able, our high school graduates, to know that they are going to be able to make a living for their families with the higher education we can offer there. The churches in Africa will not become independent until, there's a lot of other factors, okay, so don't misunderstand me, until there's more than $5 in the plate on a Sunday morning. What am I saying? I'm saying we need middle-class families. Yes, we must help the poor. But how do you bring the poor out of that and give these young people an opportunity to make a middle-class living? They've got to have college education. And so that's where we're going, and I want you to know that, and I thank you for getting us to this point. This is our sponsor, kids. You know, our work is good news and good works. So let me share some of the good works that we have with you, that we are doing right now. These are sponsored kids here. This is a new one that we're just taking on. When I say sponsored kids, they are orphans that we feed. We feed them every week. We teach them the Bible every week, and we help send them to school. And that's my wife in the background there on that other picture, with two of our high school graduates that we started feeding when they were, I guess they were 5, 6 years old, and they've become Christians. And so we're glad for that. I know I've already shown them, but I want you to know we did a lot of food distribution this past year, and I'm glad that we had the grandsons to help. That's Tristan there. We were unloading food in Zambia. You know what's so amazing in Southern Africa is that for the most part, the family structure is still strong. Children that grow up, they learn tradition, manners, how to treat those that are older, respect. When we drove up in that truck, all those people, they are hungry people. They are eating one meal every 2 or 3 days. I'm not exaggerating. And not one of them got up and rushed the truck. Not one. They sat there until we unloaded the truck and then called them by their names and gave them their food. And it's great. Oh, I want you to see this guy. When we got there at one of the villages, this guy was playing soccer with his mates. They're playing soccer? Yes, from his homemade soccer ball. You know what that is? So what they do, they get a plastic bag and they blow it up a little bit, not as tight as it can be, but they blow it up. And then they wrap other plastic bags around it. And then once they got it big enough to be a soccer ball, then they'll put elastic bands around it. And that's it, buddy, and then go to it. And you just got to love the ingenuity. Those guys will have a blast. Now, how long that ball lasts, I don't know, but during that time, they've had a great, This is the feeding that we have. We have the Mom Project, making orphan meals. We're feeding about 2,000 plus children a week. And we're doing special feedings as well. So there's multiple others that we are feeding. But when these children come to us, we see the potential because we're going to help them get their education. Every time they come, we're going to share the Bible with them, and then they get connected with the Sunday school at that particular location where that school is, where that church is, and so it's absolutely exciting, the way we go. I got to show you this picture. This was in winter, so this picture was taken in June of last year. That's their winter. He saw me taking the picture, but he wasn't going to look at me, you know. He was enjoying his food. Now, if it was a video and I could rewind it, and you could see him walking towards our area where we were feeding children, you would find him coming in a pair of underpants. No shoes, just a pair of underpants. Cold, I would say, was probably about in the 50s, but I mean, it had already been in the 30s that night, and he has no heating. So he's running to come get some food. And we were giving out clothes. And so he got a pair of socks and shoes. Those shoes, you can't buy those type of shoes in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. I'm sorry. You have to get them somewhere where you can find Timberland. And we got him pants, and we got him a jacket, and got him a toboggan, and he's eating a plate of food, and it's Merry Christmas in June, man. And it's, you know, the Bible talks about it, more blessed to give than to receive. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth, you know? And, you know, one day, as some of our graduates from our feeding program have said, I am been added to the body of this church because people that I did not know came and just started giving us food when we were so hungry. And during the years, I've come to know why they did it, because of their love for Jesus. And you all make this possible. Every time that I've come here, somebody has come up to me and given me maybe a $20 bill, $100 bill, a little check or whatever. And you know, it's $50, 50 cents a plate. You think how many meals I walk away with just from that, besides the other help. Anyway, there's some of those children we're feeding. We kept 800 families alive this past drought. The rain has come, but they had a bad drought for about a year. Some places didn't receive rain for a year. To us, that doesn't make any sense. We get precipitation all year round, whether it's rain or whether it's snow and ice, and but not there. And those ladies the picture's not big enough for you to see, and it's not a great picture because they don't have phones like we have, and so when they take their pictures, it's not always great, but we want them. Those ladies got their meals. What they're carrying on their heads that you see on the ground there is a bag of cornmeal that costs that weighs about 22.2 pounds. So that lady at the end of that line has got that on her head and a baby on her back, and she's about to walk about 1.5 miles to a village, and she's smiling. I do it from time to time just to make them laugh. I'll put one on my head, one of those 22.2 pounds, and I will try to walk. I think I get about 3 steps and it falls off my head. And they just laugh at me. And it's kind of like watching a pro athlete. It looks so easy. Well, we'll try it, And there she's got a baby on her back. And I've seen one of those ladies from that village right there, Dama village. She had the baby on her back, a bucket of water on her head, and she's knitting while she's walking. I mean, talk about multitasking. Wow. So this is you saw the little kids that we're feeding. This is the end of the line, because once they get to high school, then they graduate and we get some more young people, so they're on their way. My wife there, Mama Claus, we were there the first 2 weeks of December, so we had Christmas with them, hugging the boy in the blue shirt. He's really a special guy, Marshall. He came through our feeding program. He has his mother, but she's very, very sick, and father's not, we don't know where he is. and Marshall just did really well at school, and he's just been accepted into a technical college, and he's going to be an electrician. And so here is besides him obeying the gospel and very faithful, we gave him a start, and that's great. See those three little boys? Those are them on the right, or on the right. They've all grown up now, and they all three were orphans, and all three have obeyed the gospel, all go to the Kulimani Church of Christ, but the guy in the black t-shirt, we sent him to school and he took the ball and ran with it. Straight A's, has just been accepted into medical school. Now, that was an orphan that we started feeding when he was 5 or 6 years old. So we have a clinic at our high school, and we're about to expand within the next 2 or 3 years into a surgery, or add a surgery to it. And we've got one young lady who is a Christian, who has finished her residency, and she's specializing in surgery. And now we're about to send another guy, and what a story, hey, really? An orphan that we fed is going to come now be a doctor at our, wow. Only the Lord, only the Lord. So we have the well program, and just wanted you to know that our wells we continue to drill wells in seven countries. This one is in Zambia that we just finished. Let me just back up a minute here. And let me see. That well was drilled 14 years ago. I don't know how many hundreds of people have been baptized, but it's still pumping. We don't drill a well unless there's 90% probability. Anything less than that, we don't drill. All our wells are being drilled. All our wells are going now. We have drilled 114 wells, and every single day, over 420,000 people get clean water from our wells in Southern Africa. But there's a strategy behind it. The strategy is that we just don't drill randomly. We drill either where we're about to plant a congregation, or where we have one already. Because the end game is not it's not physical water, but living water. We want them to come and get water at our wells, and they can grow vegetables there too. And nobody is stopped from coming to get water at our wells, whether you are come to this church or not. But boy, does it give us opportunities. We have a school right now in Bulawayo, a teacher who began a school, and this teacher had no water at his house, and so he said, could I come get water at the in Ketchen 9 Church of Christ? And the preacher said, of course. And he said, well, why don't you and I, the preacher, said, well, why don't you and I, Victor the preacher, he said, why don't you and I grow some vegetables together? And they became good buddies. He was a Muslim, and he'd started a Muslim school. And it's the Bible that's being taught there now. Just because they interacted talking about vegetables. And one day when they were talking about vegetables, they got on the subject of religion, and this guy said he had never heard of the Holy Spirit. Who are you talking about? Tell me about the Holy Spirit. And from there, he too was baptized. The well you saw there, pumped. It cost $6,500 to do a hand pump. But in some of the areas now, because it's come down, I don't say it's cheap, it's come down, we are able to use solar power. And so we have, you pump the water out by solar and pump it up into the tank, and then you have a faucet there. And what I'm saying is that there's a lot of elderly people that have arthritis and other problems with their joints. And so, pumping, it's really hard on them where they can just come use a faucet. And it's about $2,000 more, $8,500 to do one of those. We've got 4 wells that we have on to do this year. So this is our ACT project, and my oldest son is in charge of that. I showed you a picture of Lee, and that's Africa Container Transport. And you can see during all the years, we've shipped 45 containers. 40-foot container, a 40-foot container ships between 12 and 1,400 boxes of banana boxes. We thank Walmart. That's a lot of boxes. You do the math, you know. Then we've had additional containers that we've shipped farming equipment and whatever else. But anyway, to 7 countries, and we are, you know, we're just excited about it. This is one that just arrived at Eswatini. Used to be Swaziland. It's changed its name, and that's the Matsapa Church of Christ. And those are the boxes in one of the classrooms about to be distributed. And they went out to the villages, and people are just so happy, you know, getting clothes. And this happened about 3 weeks before Christmas. So, you know, it was the timing was perfect. And you see them sorting through the clothes and just elated that they can get. And you know that's one reason that I just love the United States of America. I mean, it's the greatest nation on the face of the earth, you know. And to pare it down to our fellowship, the Churches of Christ, I tell you, it's just amazing, you know, because I know we have abundance. And congregations prove that every time we come get boxes of clothes and stuff like that, where people clean out their closets. But the fact is that we are a generous nation, and I honestly believe with all the foibles that we might have, God blesses our nation because one reason of our generosity. And so I'm so thankful for our, you know, for all that we do for the Lord. I just showed you this picture here, my son and them. We just shipped this to Zimbabwe Friday. And what's special about this container is we've shipped desks. Now, there is a lady by the name of Ginger at the Huntington Church of Christ. Some of you might know her. Well, she came last year. And so when she got back, she knew we were going to start this new classroom block. So she went to the principal at the Huntington High School, and she said, I know we've got desks. And those are all the desks that we loaded Friday that she got. And you see those cardboard boxes on the right? They gave us 14 smart boards that had never been opened. Just amazing. But the icing on the cake is that Carl Butt called me, and he said, Dorian, you need some Bibles? I said, yes, about 5,000. And that's on that container too. And you know, it's amazing with Apologetics Press. You open up the Word, and it's in paper form. But let me say 2 things about it. The notes that are given are just so helpful to people in the rural areas because they don't have access to the great World Wide Web that we do. The second thing is those Bibles. If there was a Lifeway bookstore open these days and you went in and bought a Bible like that is bound like that, it would probably last, I don't know, it would probably cost about maybe $80. And their study Bible would cost well over $100. The point I'm making is most of the Bibles we give out in Africa, that becomes the family Bible. They don't have Bibles. And that Bible's going to last a long time. Those pages are not going to come out after 6 months. And it is amazing what they are doing, and I appreciate it so much. And by the way, he's going to get another call from me this month, and I'm going to need another 5,000. But anyway, so this is our high school, and this is our mission statement: preparing students for life globally and eternally. And I'm so thankful that we started this. I'm thankful that you all gave money to get us up and running. You helped us with our momentum. And so this is our first graduating class. They will graduate at the end of the year. Their school year is like our normal year, not like our school year. So they start in January. So they will write their graduate exams in November. And so this is our 4th year. We took a class a year, okay? And so they are so excited. And this is a special group because they came to us after COVID. And they'd already missed a year of school because everything was shut down just like we were. And they have played some serious catch up. You know, those students have come. They have come during school holidays to play catch up, so that by the time they started writing the exams, they would be ready. In fact, we will be going back in June and July. I've got teachers coming from Texas and from Florida, retired teachers, math, science. Well, Ginger's coming to teach computers. And we're going to run them through. And they'll be on vacation, but they won't be. They want to come and they want to do these camps. So I'm thankful for their willingness. They know that this is the only way out, So that's 3 classroom blocks that we built. Each block has 2 classrooms, has storage rooms between the 2 classrooms. And that's what we had. We have added to the school. We have built a sports building, has showers, and it also has where the students can work out. Now, you must understand something, that if you saw a 13-year-old boy came to our school and you stood him next to a 13-year-old boy here, the 13-year-old boy from Zimbabwe would look like he was like 10 or 9 years old, because most of his life he has suffered from some kind of malnutrition because they don't have the food. Well, now that they've come to our school and we feed them there during the day, you should see how they've grown. So not only have they grown, we're participating now against other schools. So we've got to, as I say, we've got to pump them up. So we've got to, and when you see my grandson, he played football. They won a couple of state titles in Alabama, but he loves to lift weights, and he's the right guy because he's going to be heading up our youth program. So anyway, the spiritual and the physical, This is the latest classroom block that we finished, and the reason I want you to see that is because our school, when we built our clinic and we built our school, we wanted to be self-sustaining. So our school has solar power, and we have our own wells. You know what's amazing, this world we live in? There's a lot of things amazing. But August of last year, we got Starlink. And can you imagine being in the bush in Africa and you got Starlink? And our school has that. Now, I'll talk about that in a minute. But we have begun income streams. Our clinic is completely free because we grow 18 to 20,000 tomato plants twice a year. And that covers our free clinic. We have 200, a little over 200, and I think it's like 243 head of cattle. And we sold the cattle at the end of the past year, and without damaging our herd, we're going to have more by the end of next year. We got 50,000 US from selling those, what we could sell, which paid for half the teachers' salaries. So within 2 years, we will believe we can pay all the teacher salaries from our cattle. What I'm saying, we're building the infrastructure at the school, but the school is already just about self-supporting. Okay? That's Ginger in the front there, and that was the first day in June. Now let me give you the picture. Those children you see there, I love the uniforms, by the way. I know I'm biased because I grew up that way, but the uniforms makes everybody kind of puts them on the same playing field, same level, because some of those kids don't have shoes, or they might just have one set of clothes. Imagine wearing that every single day, and of course we've helped clothe them through the years too, so that's helped. But they come from houses, or should I say huts, that have no power, they have no running water, okay? And they've grown up that way. No indoor plumbing, okay? And they leave at 6 in the morning, and they'll walk for about 1 to 2 hours to get to school, and they get on a laptop, and they're on the World Wide Web, as it were. If I could blow up that screen, what it would say is, Ginger said, "This is how you turn on a computer." That was their first day. They were so excited. And it's kind of like this younger generation statewide all around the world. They already come plugged in. They just don't know it yet, And they have taken the ball off and running. So you can see how happy they are. First day to be on a computer. That's Tristan, our grandson, and that's him with some of the young people that he's been working with. And we have a youth program called Yes, Youth Exalting the Son, and he will be heading that up. We started Bible camps now, and that was a Bible camp in Cape Town, South Africa, that we just completed at the end of last year. We had 13 to obey the gospel. Thankful for that. This is another camp in northern South Africa. That's just one of the classrooms. But I want you to see those wonderful ladies that volunteer to cook well, the reason they volunteered is we have such a wonderful commercial kitchen. And I mean, they stir that, boy. I mean, they stir that, they get that food for them, you know. By the way, I want you to know this. It's pretty raw. I mean, it's out there in the bush, you know, there in Africa. And so those teenagers will come to a school, and they love it, you know, to come to a camp. But those ladies brought a cow live, and they started cooking. And then one of them went over there, and they just killed the cow, you know, because it's fresh meat. And they sent me pictures of it, you know. I didn't think it would be presentable, you know, but I just want you to know, you know, those ladies just get in there, get stuck in so they can provide food for the youth. This is the next camp that we're about to have, and Tristan's heading that up, and that's Camp Shalom. That's a very interesting camp because that's in Zimbabwe. And believe it or not, there was a time in my life that I was a teenager, and I went to that camp. And it has been closed, and now my grandson is going to be reviving that, and we are so excited about that. So I just before I stop, I just want you to know that my wife and I are so thankful to have partners like you all. And God has blessed us with tremendous energy and passion, and it hasn't diminished one bit. And I'm thankful that God has continued to give us good health. And so we are excited about the years that lay ahead if the Lord tarries. But my grandson, when he was real small with these other two, they must have been about 10, 11, somewhere around there. They came to me and they sat me down. They were really serious, and they said, Granddaddy, of course they're not tactful, they're young, you know. Granddaddy, when you die, don't worry, we'll continue Partners for Africa. And then I said, you know, don't rush me. So we got to this point now that Sherry and we still full steam ahead, but we have our son working for us now. We've got 2 graduates from Heritage Christian University and the University of North Alabama, Zimbabweans that came here and went back, that are working with us. And then we've got Tristan, the next generation. So the Lord tarries, we are so thankful. And so I just would ask you to continue to pray for us, pray for our work. And yes, I'm so glad Josh years ago, because you have great mission efforts as well, other mission efforts, and what you do here is equally important. But if there is a time for another group to come, a year or so from now, we would love to have you and love to show you around and you participating in what we are doing there. Would you pray with me? Our Heavenly Father, thank you for this moment in time, where we can come on this first day of the week and remember the victory that we have through your Son. Thankful for the Mackenzie Church family. They have been such a light in this community for so many decades. God, you know, I was a young preacher in Marlin years ago, just in my early 20s when I came to know this church through youth rallies and that. And so well, I ask you, O God, to continue to bless this church as they go forward. In Jesus' name, amen.